If you somehow managed to miss Manchester United's 7-0 shellacking at the hands of Liverpool last week, you may well be forgiven for thinking Bruno Fernandes committed some unthinkable, unforgivable crime against the fundamental understanding of civilized society. We're talking life in prison stuff. That has been the level of outcry over the last few days. Gary Neville kicked things off on commentary when the game was still being played, labeling Fernandes a disgrace and using his expert understanding of body language to ascertain from over 50 yards away that he was demanding to be substituted after the sixth goal. He was the first, but he was nowhere near the last. Paul Parker went for childish and petulant brat. Roy Keane, a man renowned for keeping his cool at all times, also thought his actions were disgraceful, and then an array of insightful radio pundits who definitely believe in their opinions and don't give bizarre, hyperbolic takes just to generate rage clicks continued the pile-on. What were Fernandes' misdeeds, you ask? Well, feigning injury after a brush of contact, briefly putting his hands on an official and looking a bit peeved when his team was getting battered. Lock him up and lob the key in the Mersey. We all know a controversy makes the world go round, but the furore over Fernandes' action at Anfield this past week has been the most embarrassing moral panic since QAnon. Criticizing his abject display is absolutely fair enough, as with every other member of the starting 11, but questioning his integrity as a man and doing the mental gymnastics to conclude slightly annoyed player equals horrible leader who should never disgrace the sacred armband of Manchester United again is ludicrous. It's hard to recall such a degree of outbursts after Cristiano Ronaldo was handed the captaincy just a couple of weeks after he stormed down the tunnel before a game had finished after refusing his manager's order to go on. But Fernandes has got it in the neck from every angle after a baseless acquisition he requested to be taken off and being a little stroppy. Many have clamored for the good old days of captains, as Gary Pallister outlined, with a warrior mentality like Keane, a man who once claimed if he was in the same dressing room as David De Gea after he made a particularly bad mistake he would be swinging punches at him. It wasn't the best behavior from Fernandes, but it was completely understandable in the circumstances, and it's kind of how he always is, especially when losing. He's a whiner. He's constantly on officials' cases, but that worked pretty well when he ensured the controversial winner over Manchester City stood. He's always pointing and telling players what to do. But how long have United cried out for a player to take command on the pitch? And it's not as though Fernandes is one to shirk responsibility. Even in the 90th minute and 7 down against Liverpool, he was still getting on the ball and trying to make things happen. After the full-time whistle, he was the first one to face the music and give an apology. The calls for him to be stripped of the captaincy have been baffling, since he can't be stripped of something he doesn't have. Those stupid requests were appropriately put a swift end to by Erik ten Hag, who made it clear Fernandes will stay as captain when Harry Maguire isn't playing. Marcus Rashford came to his side by saying he loved playing with him and called him a good leader who has helped others around him lead as well. He has done a lot for us in terms of bringing leadership skills in, and that was from the moment he arrived, he said. The Old Trafford faithful were also quick to back their talisman on Thursday. Fernandes' name was the first to be sung by the terraces, and he paid them back in kind with a resurgent display in which he grabbed an assist and, ironically enough, flicked home a header that harkened back to Keane's famous goal against Juventus in the Champions League semi-final. Keane put in one of the most selfless and heroic displays in United history that night as he dragged them to a final he wouldn't be able to play. While Fernandes is yet to have a moment as defining as that, he showed on Thursday as well as throughout the season he is definitely captain material.